All right, welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo podcast series. And as I have said all summer, what excites me the most about this year's Expo, and of course, I love all the Expos, the past have been great, but we have so many new folks coming, new products, new ideas, new games, new apps. Folks, if you think the fantasy football industry kind of went dull, you aren't paying attention. You need to come to the expo because we have some so cool stuff. We've been doing interviews all summer. And here's one that I met Jonathan last year at the Cleveland FSGA. And when he told me this idea, I was just like, yes, there you go. That is different. That is cool. So, folks, this is Jonathan Gruber from Loserball. That's right. You heard the name right. Loserball. And you'll find out why it's called Loserball here in a little bit. But, Jonathan, welcome to the show. Always great to see you, my friend. We just met here about a year ago in Cleveland, I think, at FSGA. Happy to have you here. You're coming to your first expo. So tell everybody, who you are, where you're from, that kind of good stuff, kind of on a personal note. And, let everybody in on your personal information.
Sure. Thanks, Bob. It's great to connect this way and a follow-up to when we first spoke. And it was in Cleveland, which is actually kind of the inspiration for Loserball. I'm
as the Browns should be.
I'm outside of DC, Washington, DC, in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Cool.
And so it'll be like a 5-6 hour drive. And I'm excited to come out for my first Fantasy Football Expo. So the journey of Loserball, it's actually, I don't play fantasy football. And because it's always been a little too complicated and a little too serious for me. I did some early stuff with basketball, I guess, with friends where it was so long ago that I'd have to go and get the newspaper in the morning and look at the scores, but nothing online. And so a friend of mine.
It takes our first question out of the thing, right? Of when do you got started playing fantasy football? Because you haven't, right? Or you did, or you dabbled in it, or how did you get involved in this? Because you can't create Loserball without at least knowing something about the game.
Right. So, I knew about it. I knew the concept of what it was. But again, it just felt like it was just a little too much for me to take on. And so a friend of mine, we just said, because we're a little contrarian, we said, let's just pick a team and each pick a team. And whichever team loses the most games will be the winner. And that was it. And so we would wind up rooting against the team. I did this for 20 plus years with him. We'd pick a team every year and whoever lost won. And if you won, some ridiculous paraphernalia of the team, like a Bengals umbrella or a Dolphins stop sign. And I wound up at what was more even, just as fun as rooting against your team or for your team to lose was the banter and how the same sports cliches flipped on their head.
Right.
So, and all with a straight face. It's like, oh, my team has the home field disadvantage this week. Or, it all starts with ownership, or what's up with this lack of chemistry in the locker room. And it was awesome. And so one year I picked the Browns.
Okay. And the 0-16 team?
Well, that was the third year. I did double or nothing. And then I did triple or nothing. And they are, truly, the sort of Cleveland Browns of a number of years ago were a dynasty when it comes to Loserball.
From a loser standpoint, they were.
Exactly. And so that third year, I did pick them. They went winless. And so they had a perfect season. Mm-hmm. And I wound up going to Cleveland for the parade that they had where they marched around First Energy. And it was just great. And I thought, there's something in here in fantasy, that I think maybe we can take this love of losing and turn it into something that's a little different. So started working on some algorithms, some numbers, different categories. So it was a little more involved than just winning and losing. Mm-hmm. COVID came and that kind of shut things down. But then a couple of years ago, I was like, let me see, if we can pick this up again. So I wound up going to the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association's Las Vegas conference in 2023, so about a year and a half ago,
Okay.
and just floated the idea. And I said, what do you think of Loserball? And the other thing that we wanted to do was kind of thread the needle between people who kind of love this, subversive way of rooting,
Right.
and people who really, get into the strategy of it. So we don't pick players. We tried to make it easier. It's teams. You pick three teams every week, but each team has these what we call 16 categories of stinkiness. So it's whether it's a blocked punt, a missed field goal, even to the point of incomplete passes on the offense or completed passes on the defense. And it's all in an algorithm. It's all based on the last 3 years so there's real numbers behind it that give teams a handicap.
Nice.
So each team starts with a handicap.
Okay.
They're in positive territory, and then they have to work their way into the negative. Each thing is in negative points. So the more negative points you have, the better it is. So anyway, I went to Vegas and, tried out the idea, and people said, oh, that's interesting. People had done things where you do it sort of traditionally, and whoever comes in last place gets some sort of bogey prize. But this is different. It's a real paradigm shift and sort of just thinking differently about it as you're watching the game. And then they had a summer conference in Cleveland, of all places. And I thought, there's some karma here. They have this thing called an elevator pitch, where, startups go and in a room, and there's 6 or 7 of us, and we have a 3-minute pitch, and I won the elevator pitch competition.
You did. I know. I was there. Right.
So that was, a little validating. And then I thought, well, I've got to gear up, at least try to get a beta for the last NFL season, 23-24 season. So we wound up getting a great development team. And the last 3 weeks of the regular season and the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, we ran the beta. The nice thing about Loserball, because it's team-based, is that you can go through the regular season and even into the playoffs, because it's not about resting players. The teams are still playing. So that's kind of nice. And beta went well. And now we have turned it into a full-fledged operation that's going to kick off with this season. So we're doing test flight. It's going to be a web app. It's going to be in the mobile stores and, with Apple and Google. And I'm super excited about it. I see you have at Bob Lung. I should have put at Play Loserball. That's our Twitter handle.
That's your Twitter. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine. Yeah. And you can share that at the end as well, just to let everybody know that to follow that. So, yeah. So like you said, I remember you telling me about it, and I just sat there, just like you said, I've been in this industry for a long time, 20 plus years. I've been playing for 40 plus years. So anything that's new and different to me is just like, okay, yeah, let's make this fun. I've got some people coming in for the expo that have, playing cards, almost like Pokemon, that you have different bonuses for if you have this card. And, and there's, drafting old players. So I just love the ingenuity and the thought process of looking at every different angle of the fantasy football world and go, what can I do to make this a little bit different, a little bit more fun, a little bit more easier to play? Again, like you said, fantasy football for some can be tasking. It's not their thing. They don't focus on a weekly basis. They don't focus on a daily basis. So, just doing something for fun. And you know what? Why not do that if you're like, oh, I stink at fantasy football? Well, you should get into Loserball then, because you can pick teams and pick players that stink, and you obviously know how to do that. So you're very good at it. So get into this,
So it's not as easy picking losers,
I'm sure it isn't. I mean, I know a lot of people might think it is, but let's be honest, every team has their moments. I mean, yeah, we had our, the Lions had a team, the Saints had bad teams at times, and the Browns, and, certainly there's been teams that all have been, not as good. But even the ones that, people going, oh, this team will be like, he wins 4 games this year, and then they go win 8. You're like, okay, well, then I screwed that up. And again, depends on each week, right? Because so do you pick 1 team or 3 teams at the beginning of the year and go through the season? Or is it 3 teams every week that you're trying to pick Is it more of a DFS weekly basis, or is it a yearly thing with just 3 teams?
So the short answer is yes.
Okay.
We have like a bunch of different options. We're
Okay.
going to have private leagues of 10 to 14 people. So people join, they invite their friends,
Okay.
and that's a season long. And you pick
Okay.
3 teams every week. Since there's no drafting necessarily. It's sort of it's a blind draft. So you could, in theory, pick the same 3 teams as your friend the first week, but the odds are of you picking the same 3 teams over 17 or 18 weeks
Right.
is not going to happen. So
Especially if you don't know what they're picking until
exactly.
until everything's live. So yeah, it would be hard pressed to believe that everybody's going to pick the same bad teams every week, regardless.
So that's the private leagues that we're doing,
Yeah.
and then people obviously they have their own sort of prizes on the side for that.
Sure. Right.
Then and this is all free to play, so
Right.
we want to make it easy for people to get into this concept. Then we're going to have public leagues, sort of a global leaderboard, and one of the public leagues, or at least our main one, maybe we'll call it, I don't know, King Loser or something like that, where if you win, meaning you pick the best teams, you have the highest season-long total, you will win a weekend to the town of the team that has the most losses in the NFL. So last year, when we did it for the beta, it was a trip to Charlotte. And then our second prize was a Panthers helmet, and our third prize was a Panthers rain poncho. So we're having fun with it.
That's fantastic. I love it. Yeah.
We're gonna do that again. That'll be our main one.
Okay.
But then we're also talking to guys like Scott Fish and the Fish
right.
Bowl. And what we want to do, and we're talking, and hopefully this will work out, is we're going to have something called the Flounder Bowl. And so it's our style of Loserball. Scott and myself and whoever else joins up will play, and it'll be for charity. So that's another type of season long.
Well, count me in if it's for charity and Scott's involved. I'll definitely love to be in it.
So that'll be fun. And but then we're also going to do weeklies because let's say you're not doing so well at your Loserball.
You're losing at your Loserball, which
exactly.
is not a good thing. Which is not necessarily a good thing. Yeah.
And you're not. I mean, the nice thing about it is because it's not like a record, like 1 and 2, or if you're never really out of it, because the point totals can be pretty high. You can have a team score -800 in a game.
Oh, gee. I didn't realize there were that many points. Okay.
If they get safeties, it's all the algorithm. It goes from -1, like each point is -1, each incomplete pass that the defense gives up, or completed pass that the defense gives up, is -1. But then it goes all the way to missed field goals, and I think that's -90. And a blocked and a safety is -250. So you can have. So what's cool is that a team that wins traditionally might also win at Loserball, which is kind of how we wanted to do it. And there are these wacky plays that can just skew it. And it's interesting because some people really dig the wackiness, and some people are like, well, wait, my strategy, I tried to figure this out, and it's like, that's Loserball for you.
Yeah. What team leads the league in safeties for the year? That's what we got to start researching.
Exactly. Or like kickers, so like the Rams last year, there was a bit of strategy. The Rams.
Well, there's a lot of kickers now, especially with the new, distance, or it's not new, but recent, where now they're kicking longer extra points basically, and so there's a lot more missed extra points and missed field goals and stuff. But yeah, that's good stuff.
What we're going to also do weeklies with prizes, for people who come in and out. And then next year we're going to include real money gaming stuff. We really we're starting with fantasy because we think it's just a great fun game, and then we'll add some other components to it. So we're pretty excited about our where we're headed.
Cool. Good stuff. All right, well, let's talk about then how you found out about the Fantasy Football Expo and why you decided to come this year.
Sure. So I heard about it last year, when I was in Vegas, and people said, you got to, because it's for consumers. It's not for other companies. It's for, fantasy football players, and just couldn't get it together time wise. And I wasn't ready with the product, actually.
Sure. Yeah,
So it didn't make sense. But then as it rolled around for this year and we're kicking off, it seemed like the perfect thing to do. The other thing that we're doing at Fantasy Football Expo, if you come to our booth, we're going to give you a chance. You're going to spin the wheel for an authentic Johnny Manziel jersey. So we're excited about
Well
that.
done, sir. Well done. Especially in Northeast Ohio. That's going to go over. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna have the Scott Fish Flounder Bowl.
There you go.
We'll have some other fun stuff going on there too. But
yeah, you may see that Manziel jersey out in the parking lot on fire when it's over, but it's that could happen. I'm just saying.
it's once it's out of our hands,
it's out of your hands, right? Yeah. Hey, not my fault. Exactly. We gave it away. They burned it. I don't know. It might happen. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, no, good stuff. Jonathan,
so that's what I heard about. I'm excited. It seemed, for you, Bob, it's great. It keeps getting bigger every year. Excited to see the energy, and the passion of the fans.
It really is. I always said a part of this, the reason I started it was to help folks like yourself and so many others this year. Like I said, I'm so excited about all the new folks this year to give a venue, a way to promote your products, your new products, to the masses. And what's great is while there is some content creators certainly here, they're also fans. I mean, you have no competition for Loserball right now. So, I can see everybody going, oh, that's fun. Oh, I haven't tried that. I got to try that. And that's what is great about this industry is all of the great new stuff, all the fun ideas. You just having to take it to a different direction. And that's what makes it so fun and so cool. So yeah, we're, super excited that you're coming. We're super excited for all the new folks coming this year. It's going to be a great time. Jonathan, any questions you have for me as your first timer here coming to the expo that you're like, oh, I've been wanting to ask you this, Bob, but I always forget. And here's my moment. Any questions you might have for me as a newbie coming to town?
Just where is the good draft beer?
So we got some really. So are you a craft beer connoisseur as well?
I mean, I'm not so hardcore with it, but I like a tasty brew.
So we have some very nice places around. So one of them is actually very close. So anybody who's staying what we call Hotel Hill, which is where like Home 2 Suites, Residence Inn, Comfort Inn, it's at the top of this hill. And we're, so we have a lot of folks stay there because it's very centralized. Anyway, right down at the bottom of the hill is a place called Fathead Brewery. And their headquarters is in Cleveland, and they've won many, many awards for their various brews. So that's a great place to go. They got an outdoor seating, and like I said, it's right down the hill. So that's great. We have one called Royal Docks that's also very good. It's local. Other than that, everybody serves beer, right? I mean, the hotels have beer. We'll certainly have beer at the Friday party, the Saturday party. So we have lots of parties, lots of good times. And then if you're one of the crazies that stay out late and run around downtown Canton to all the small little local bars, that's a good time too. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities for that scenario for sure. So
it should be fun. And I'm also excited to engage with creators, with influencers. One of the things that we're just starting right now, and as we roll it out, we'll let people know, is we are going to have an experts league. And, so some surprises so far of who's going to join us.
But who are the loser experts? I'm not sure we want to admit that we're the best expert at losing, but that's fun. Yeah.
And what's interesting about, if you really want to get into the strategy, the team that has the biggest handicap right now is the Vikings. Why? You wouldn't think that, because their kickers missed a lot of kicks. And they gave up a ton
quarterbacks, Sam Donald,
and they gave up a ton of yardage. It's like what the Chiefs and the Patriots have the same handicap, because it's all in these 10 different categories.
Wow. Okay.
It's not just about winning and losing. You still have the Niners.
Oh, I missed it. I didn't get to the. Sorry about that. I did try to get to the news, but
bless you.
Oh, thank you.
So the Niners and the Niners, I think, are the ones, they have a 0 handicap, and then the Ravens are the next, low. They're the worst Loserball teams, which makes sense. But it doesn't always work that way. So that's what makes it interesting. It's not as obvious as you would think. There is some strategy in it, but if you just don't even want to think about it, you pick your teams, the API comes in, you've got your live stats, it adds it all up for you. You see how you're doing in your league or, against other people on the leaderboard. And the thing that I love about rooting this way is it's like this giddy, perverse delight that you get out of.
Yes, that guy got his kick blocked.
Totally. It's like pick six. Amazing. And it's just a totally different way of rooting.
Right.
You're not rooting.
Yeah, no, I think it's
awesome. Like it's a total mind shift, but it's super fun. And we're excited for people to try it out.
Fantastic. I love it. Like I said, I'm so excited for it, and I definitely want to be in the expert league. Got to be great. Okay, no, thank you again, Jonathan, for being a part of this. Thank you for coming to the expo and being an exhibitor. We're excited to have you. Like I said, I love this idea. I can't wait for the rest of the folks that are coming to the expo to hear about it. I know they'll be just as excited as I am. So I'm going to leave it in your hands to tell people how to follow the website, the apps, whatever that they need to know about you, and then we'll take it out from there.
Sure. I'm sorry that I didn't put loserball.com, but that's what it is. Easy to remember. Yeah. And our Twitter handle, which is where we've got some stuff up there from our beta. You can see how we were doing it, but this year it'll be @PlayLoserball is where we're gonna go out, and there'll be some other social media stuff. What's that?
All one word, Clay Loserball.
Play Loserball.
Play Loserball.
@PlayLoserball. Okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Loserball.com @PlayLoserball for X or Twitter.
All right. Well, great. Well, again, Jonathan, thank you for being a part of this. Of course, folks, you know who I am, Bob Long, the Fantasy Football Expo. We're less than 2 weeks away. Get your tickets. Hurry, 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 hurry. If not, just show up. Come there, buy tickets at the door. Doesn't matter. We want you to be there. Check out the Loserball, all the great stuff. So for Jonathan Gruber from Loserball, I'm Bob Long. Take care. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.